Okay, take 3. This is the 3rd time I've tried to make this video. I'm beginning to think maybe I'm not supposed to say anything at all after all. But I was going to tell you the story about these tulip bulbs I had bought at Sam's a few months ago, and I kept leaving a sticky note on my cabinet so that I would remember to plant them, and fall came and went, and I never did plant them. And so a few weeks ago I had come outside and tried to check the ground, and it was solid like cement. So I was like, okay, well, no tulip bulbs. Well, after Crystal passed, tulips were Crystal's favorite flower. So after she passed, it felt really bad that I never planted these tulip bulbs. And being that it's 20 degrees out and the ground is still solid as cement, I was like, well, there's no way that these tulip bulbs are going to get planted this year. Well, a couple days ago, the temperature went up to 45 degrees and then 50 degrees, and I ran outside and checked, and the ground was nice and soft, and I got all those tulip bulbs planted. And then this morning, when I was trying to think of something to say, I was searching for a scripture, and I came across this little devotion thing that we have, this little flip devotional thing that we have, and it's actually dated January 13th, which is the day that Crystal passed, and I had never read it. It says, "Your steadfast love, O Lord, extends to the heavens, your faithfulness to the clouds." It's Psalms 36:5. And then on the bottom it says, "A wintry day is a good time to plant flower bulbs." And I just kind of laughed to myself that, that's just like God. And then I looked up steadfast, and it means loyal and just and faithful. And I'm thinking, at a time like this, when we don't understand what's happening and we kind of wonder if God is still in control, it's nice to have that reassurance, even if it's just silly little tulip bulbs. And one of the last posts Crystal did, it said that God knew it was going to come to this, and it's okay. He has a plan. It's kind of hard to see his plan right now. We just need to know that he does have one. And it must be a really big one. And that he is loyal and just and faithful, and he is still with us, even through all this. And I think Crystal would like you to know that no matter where you are or what you're going through or where you've been, he is with you too, and he does love you. That's it. Love you. Bye.
Hi, we're Frank and Ashley Dadone, Crystal's aunt and uncle, Annette's brother.
Hi, I'm Ashley Dadone. We so wish we could be there in person with you all to celebrate Crystal's amazing life. We've been sitting here in Colorado for the last couple of weeks, just remembering having so many amazing memories about Crystal, just about the amazing, wonderful family that's out there in North Carolina, and just thought we'd share a few things. I met Crystal personally, I think it was back in 1999, about the summer of 1999, when Annette and Michael and Crystal and Bobby drove out to Colorado, and we had our first baby, who was 3 months old, who is now 21 years old, so I think that made Crystal about 15. And just her smile always just captivated me. In fact, not many people could make our little 3-month-old baby laugh, and she certainly did. I remember taking them to a water park, and I think you had a funny...
Actually, her and Bobby went to the top of the giant slide with me and Mike, and then bailed out. And Mike and I got stuck going down the chutes. I don't know if you remember that.
So funny, hilarious. And then I remember going many, many years later, coming out to visit when your parents lived in North Carolina in Hickory, and we drove up to Ash and visited Annette and Michael and Crystal and Bobby. And I remember sitting in Annette and Michael's dining room and learning from Crystal about Facebook. So she officially was my tutor on Facebook, and probably my first friend on Facebook. And was really instrumental in teaching me how to enter into the social media world, which I really appreciate. Yeah.
Nice. And so, my first memories of Crystal, I was holding her in my hands when she was a little baby. And I just remember thinking, she's going to be a person someday. She's going to grow up and have a life ahead of her. And unfortunately, it was a little shorter than I think we all would have expected.
Yep, absolutely. A life taken way too soon, but what an amazing person that Crystal was. And to be able to, read what Annette wrote about the 3 things that she would have said that she always wanted to accomplish, and that was, I believe, marry a prince, have children, and be a teacher, and she did all 3 of those, and that just warmed our hearts. And I'm so glad you all are together out there in North Carolina, and we're sending you all so much love, and you're in our hearts constantly. And we love you all.
Yeah, and just one other thing that I just wanted to put in there, Ashley was talking about all the time we've been thinking about her, and just the incredible life that she did live. And she went on to do some amazing things, that she became a special needs school teacher, and just hearing all the stories about what a wonderful, great friend she was, and what an amazing mom she was. And she's just an absolutely incredible person that she became. I couldn't be more honored, and I wish I would have had more opportunity with her. And that said, I feel like I've made an effort to reach out to people I haven't talked to in years, and it's because of her. So
she's the meaning behind a lot of things that have happened over the course of the last few weeks, and we just send so much love to Travis and Maya and Jackson. Annette,
Mike, all of you.
Bobby.
Thinking about
Chuck,
you
Candace.
every day, all day.
Yep. All right.
Take care. Love you all.
Love you all.
I'd like to take this time to remember Crystal, my sister, during our family gatherings. Her good spirit and infectious laughter will always be with me and with Shani, my wife. Her ability to act as a liaison, albeit sometimes blunt, with my siblings, Candace, Bobby, and Shane, is irreplaceable. On the sweeter side, we are definitely going to miss her cheesecake. She always would bring desserts, and that's something that hopefully Maya and Jackson will be able to replicate. I'd like to also say that she didn't give herself enough credit. She achieved a lot in her short lifetime. She was dedicated to her profession and her community, and truly loved her family. We'll never forget you, Crystal. You will always be in our hearts, and we send our love and hugs to Travis, Jackson, and Maya.
Go. Hey, this is On, and I'm on the autism person, and I just wanted to say that after I heard the truth about what happened to Miss Crystal, of her dying from the COVID and everything, and I know that she's going to be missed and everything, to Mr. Travis and her children, she's a good friend, a good teacher, and a good mother, and to all the staff, to everyone at the high school, to Miss Crystal, she will be very missed. And keep it to our hearts
And how did you feel about Miss Crystal?
It was very dreadful to see her pass away, and
Well, I mean,
I am happy too as well. I am very happy that I had good memories with her.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful field trips, and of course, having a good time.
What was your favorite thing about Miss Crystal?
Her always making everyone laugh, telling good jokes. Her and Miss Treva, and so is Miss Jocelyn and them.
Mm-hmm. What's a memory of Miss Crystal that you have that's your favorite?
Being right beside her,
Mm-hmm. Just beside her, helping her?
and also listening to her very carefully.
Oh, okay. Those are your favorite memories?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Auden.
This is on. Sign out.
Hey everybody, my name is Logan, and I just wanted to talk about Miss Bennett and the impact she had on my life, and how amazing of a person she was, and she cared about every single student. She loved all her students. We had known each other since my freshman year, and she was always there for me. She always made sure I was doing my work, and she always made sure I was on my best behavior. And when we went to online school, I went full online, and I wasn't really doing my work like I should have. And she made me come back to school, and she just really cared about me and made sure I was doing my work, and all she wanted was to see me do good. And that's how she was with each and every one of her students, and she was just an amazing person. She was always so happy, so joyful, and she was always there for anyone who needed help, and she had a big impact on my life. She would always text me to see how I was doing, make sure I was doing my work. She was on me all the time, just because she cared so much, and that means a lot to me. She was a really one-of-a-kind person. She was so thoughtful and so selfless. She cared about other people, like she wanted to see them do good, and she would do anything in her power to help anyone else. And
I'm gonna miss a contagious smile she always wore. And I want the family to know that I love them and I'm praying for them.
From Kim Turnmeyer. I can't pull myself together enough for a video, but just wanted to share my Crystal story. I teach at Blue Ridge, and I have met Crystal at some point in passing, but never really talked to her beyond that. Well, that all changed on Wednesday, January the 6th. See, my sister-in-law works for the county in the EC department and had been checking in on Crystal. I, too, had developed COVID during this time. I got symptoms that Sunday, tested Monday, and got results that Wednesday. This began our Facebook Messenger friendship. We would message each other about symptoms, worries, etc. I developed bilateral pneumonia and went to the hospital the Saturday before she did. My blood work came back okay, so they released me with a second round of antibiotics and IV steroids. I too am diabetic, so needless to say, my sugar was crazy for a few days. We would check in on each other daily. I tried to make sure I checked on her every morning and every evening. The last message to her was to let her know I'd come hold her hand if they would let me in, since I'd already had it. She never got to read that one. She was so funny. At one point, I told her I peed myself every time I coughed, and she said she farted all over when she did. She got me through. I have struggled with survivor's guilt, I guess. I am so thankful I am still here with my family, but darn it, why can't she be too? We both have asthma, both diabetic, both pneumonia, both have 2 kids, both teachers. COVID is simply evil and has no conscience. I think of her every single day and so miss those check-ins. I will strive to be a better Christian, wife, mother, teacher because of her. I remember in a class I had to take that we should think about what people would remember about us when we're no longer in this earth. Well, Crystal left behind an amazing legacy and touched more lives than I'm sure she ever knew. Bless your family. You're all in my prayers daily. This letter is from Kelly Ann. Dear Crystal, my friend, I never would have imagined that I would be sitting here typing this letter to you after your passing. In fact, your death was not something I ever entertained as a thought. I always assumed that we would be sharing so much of our lives with one another for decades to come. I always seemed to be able to find the right words to say. Expressing my emotions has never been something that I struggled with. Your death changed that. Every single time I go to say something, type something, think something, I pause. I am lost for words, speechless, bound by shock and grief. I guess I could begin with talking about all the things I will miss and end with all the things we will never get to share. I know that sounds tragic. It only sounds that way because it is. We met nearly 13 years ago. It may even be 14. It's hard to believe that this journey towards motherhood for us both began that long ago. And yet it feels like yesterday. I remember the first time we spoke. I thought to myself that you had this unbelievable sweetness to you that I hadn't experienced much of, considering I live in New York City. And well, your parents, I am sure, told you all about us New Yorkers. There is a hardness to us that only people like you can soften. Believe me when I tell you that, because it is true. I never got the chance to tell you how much I admired you. I mean, of course, I told you how proud of you I was and how much your story and testimony inspired me. But the depth of my admiration for you, I never told you. Your faith moved me, and not in the cliche way that people talk about, but in the real way. I never was able to understand how you just believed. You believed so much so that you never gave up on what you wanted most in this life, to become a mother. You were so unapologetically stubborn in your pursuit of motherhood, and that in itself left me lost for words at times. I felt weak compared to your strength in all of this. You were a hero to me. I hope you knew that. I would often look at the life you built and dream of the day that I too would find what you found. But I never was able to get out of my own way. Fear always took over, a fear that you did not have, a fear that can only be cured by faith. I remember the words you would always speak to me. Words of encouragement, of hope, of faith, of strength. Crystal, do you see the words I keep using? That is no coincidence. Those are the words I associate with you. Our friendship may have begun out of a shared dream, but it developed into so much more. You were no longer a woman I had met on an infertility support group, but you became my friend. A friend in every sense of the word. You were someone I confided the most intimate details of to, someone I trusted with my most precious secrets, fears, desires, and hopes. I trusted you to keep those safe, and you never let me down. You were my friend in every single sense of the word. When you died, a piece of my heart went with you. I know that sounds like some cheesy postcard or the inside of a Hallmark card, but it is true. You were a champion and a cheerleader. You wore many hats in this life. I found myself questioning my own faith after you died, and I had to stop myself because you would have never let me continue with those thoughts. I could almost hear you whisper to me that while it isn't fair and that we can't make sense of it now, that God has a plan for your life, and you served him well, and now it was time for you to go home to him. The selfish and human part of me wishes we could have had you here longer, especially for Travis and the kids. I think of them often in quiet moments when I'm laying in my bed. I think of how you all needed each other, and I wish you could have had more years with them. I think this may be one of the first questions I will ask him when it is my time. How do I honor you in this lifetime, Crystal? I keep asking myself this over and over. The only real answer that I come up with is to live my life in the way that you did. To really live, to chase my dreams, face my fears, and finish what I start. To succumb to ideas on a whim and not concern myself with all the smallest details. To let the laundry pile up if it means I'm spending more time with my family. Do not care if the pictures come out perfect or if I've had too many carbs during a family meal. To live my life in service of others, to be loud in my beliefs but humble in my approach. To accept people for who they are, love my neighbor even if I do not love his choices. Most of all, to be a person that understands that above all else, doing what is best for mankind overall is what matters more than doing what is best for me. I will always say your name in every prayer, in all my stories, and when I become a mother someday. I will tell them all about my friend who held my hand until the day she had to let go to be with God. I will always tell your story to anyone who wants to listen. to your children someday, should they come to look for the ladies who waited with you for their arrival. I promise to tell your story, a story of love, of hope, of promise, a story rich with faith and grace. I love you, my friend. This is not goodbye. This is until we meet again. Love, Kelly Ann.
Dear Crystal, thank you for being you. You are amazing, inspiring, loving, and one of the best friends I've ever had. I will cherish all the memories, from working at Learning Through Play together, all our conversations over texting, being jealous of all your beautiful completed house projects, and most of all, seeing you every day at school. I promise to do my best to be here for the squad in your family. You will truly be missed, and I will love you forever. Jocelyn.
From Leah Baer. Words I instantly think of to describe Crystal are strong, faithful, God-fearing, beautiful. Her strength truly amazed me. Her and I were pretty close when she attended Cornerstone Fellowship. I was going through my messages the other night for hours and had some pretty good laughs. Trying to stay quiet, not to wake up the kids, as this was between 2 to 5 in the morning. These messages dated back to 2011, and this was just on Facebook. Not all the text messages we would mention. Crystal and I were on a period of time for a journey to motherhood together in 2012-2013. She had went through an embryo transfer, finalizing getting fostering license and more. She would tease me that her and I would get pregnant together. She even told me some crazy things she heard on what to do to get pregnant. Oh my goodness, it was so funny. During this season of hers, she knew Michael and I were trying to get pregnant, and despite her struggles, she always was so invested in me. Always asking how I was feeling. Was this the time? Have you taken a test? She would ask me those questions weekly. Despite her urge to become a mother, she was so excited for me. What a big heart she has. I finally became pregnant, and she could not have been happier for us. I just kept thinking this woman wants to be a mom more than ever. Even saying that she wanted a boy and a girl before she turned 30, and yet she was so happy for me. Her fostering license went through, and although she had expressed how nervous yet excited she was, she had expressed that sometimes she didn't even want to get a call because she was scared. And then it happened. Crystal got the call for 2 siblings, and wouldn't you know, a boy and a girl. Fast forward to when I was able to meet them in person, and she was truly so excited for me to meet them. I seen those sweet, fragile, timid, beautiful, strong babies, and I knew in my heart that those babies were meant for her and Travis. Those kids, scared and timid as they were, absolutely adored Crystal and Travis. I told her, as everyone else did, you will adopt these kids, and it happened. And it happened before she was 30, I'm pretty sure. I'm so blessed to have witnessed Jackson and Maya just blossom into these vibrant, strong, wild kids through the love they have been given. Crystal was made to be a mother, and God knew exactly how He would bless her. I know we figured some over the years, but one thing I know is that no matter what, we both care deeply for each other and our families. She has touched so many lives, families in this community. Her heart was so big, her smile and laugh is so contagious. She will always be a precious memory, and I know that Jackson and Maya will always know how much Crystal loved them. My heart aches knowing that I spoke with Crystal the night before, but I'm blessed to have done so. The conversation was short, of course, and I didn't want to bother her because I had a feeling she was speaking with so many people, even though she was in the hospital. Just seeing her last post and her telling she was okay and feeling some better, I just know that her faith never failed her, and to know she is now in the arms of Jesus is what keeps me smiling when I think of her. We're continuously praying for all of you.
Dear Crystal, thank you for being a breath of fresh air. I really enjoyed the time getting to know you as you spent a semester in my classroom with the student that you traveled with. You have always been so caring and kind. You and Travis were always the sweetest couple as you did everything together, united. It was so exciting when you guys were blessed with your wonderful children who you both adored. Thank you for sharing your wonderful cheesecakes with us at the school's Christmas party each year. You will be missed, however, your wonderful spirit lasts to brighten each day. Blessings to you in heaven, as I am sure you are busy there, brightening up each day. With love, Jennifer Phipps.
From Trish Torres. I wrote Crystal's name in the sand before I left Isle of Palms this morning. I always remember her writing Bennett in the sand while on their family vacations. She seemed to love the ocean, so I felt it was fitting to send up a prayer for those left to cherish her memory. My heart is with you. Crystal and I worked together at Learning Through Play several years ago. She was an amazing person inside and out. To Crystal from Mary Lou Jacobs Barker. I never met Crystal in person, but she was always a dear friend to me. We first met in an online group for those struggling with infertility. She and I bonded through this difficult time, and I was so happy when Crystal and her husband were able to start a family by adopting her sweet children. Over the years, I loved seeing her post on Facebook with her family, and I followed her journey to becoming a special ed teacher. In fact, one of our last conversations online involved an observation she had and asked my opinion on. Her lesson plan was so good, and I reassured her that she had a gift, which I was glad to see her using. She never failed to encourage me and those around her always. We had always hoped to meet in person, but I do not know that I will see her one day. And in the meantime, she inspires me as I continue to teach, and I will always remember and try to emulate her positive attitude and love for others and Jesus.
From Lori Calhoun Miller. I wanted to tell you how I met Crystal and what she has meant to me. In 1998, I had the pleasure of having Crystal as a student in my ELP class when I did my student teaching at Beaver Creek. She was a freshman. I can honestly say that she was one of my favorite students, although we are not supposed to have those. She was easy to love, the most respectful and sweetest person. I knew she was going to go places, and she was a very special person. I friended her on Facebook several years later and followed her and Travis's journey with infertility. She was such an inspiration as she had so much faith. I admired her so much for her love and trust in God that she and Travis had. Then God gave them Jackson and Maya, and I cried happy tears for them. These kids found the absolute best home with their parents. Then several years later, I started attending Cornerstone Church. Crystal and Travis were going there, and we became friends. I loved watching them grow as a family. I prayed so hard for Crystal as she fought COVID in the hospital, several times crying ugly tears begging for healing. Her post asking for prayers for everyone else and those taking care of the patients is quintessential Crystal. She was selfless, compassionate, and always putting everyone else first. I even shared with Mike several times here, my friend battling COVID, and praying everyone gets healing. She showed me through her fight what a Christian and human should be. I will always say she has been a huge inspiration to me. I'm thankful and a better person for having Crystal in my life as a friend. Much love. Professor Bruce Henderson. Dear Crystal, hearing of your passing really affected me greatly. Even though we never got to meet face to face, I felt I got to know you in my online child psychology class. My overall memory of you comes from the picture of your family you included in your introduction of yourself to the class, and an overall sense of what a sweet person you are from our weekly interactions. You clearly loved not only your own children, but many others. I looked back through your weekly reflections from my class, and this one really stuck out. Love speaks louder than words. This week's readings, like the ones in the past, have hit close to home. I've talked about both my kids before, but this week helps me to understand more why my son wouldn't speak when we first got him in foster care. My son was 2 years old and taken from an abusive situation, put into a family home, and then put into foster care at our home. He didn't speak a single word and was scared half to death. Going through the training we went through, we were taught you love them no matter what, or how long they'll be living with you. We loved and still do and cuddle up the scared little boy who is now in our care. One thing we instantly noticed was that he was started talking. He didn't even say his sister's name when he they first came. We instantly put him in speech therapy, and he really started talking. He felt safe and realized that he was loved and cared for. Though even he had a traumatic beginning, the way he was brought up made a real influence on the way he developed his language. Props to you, Crystal, for being what sounds like a great foster mother. It says so much that simply receiving love helped him start talking before speech therapy. I am proud of you for opening up your home to foster kids. It is truly remarkable to see the positive changes that can take place in a loving, attentive environment. While there still will be baggage due to the unstable home life they had, it is awesome to see the changes that take place. Nice, Crystal. I'm sure your son has experienced benefits of being in the presence of somebody that demonstrated caring and empathy. As a fellow Christian, I will keep your beautiful children and your husband in my prayers. God bless.
This letter is from Brittany Thomas. Crystal, you are such a beautiful person, inside and out. You made working at Learning Through Play so much fun. You were a wonderful friend and co-worker. All the laughs will live in my heart forever. Rylan loved you so much when you were his teacher. You'd always tell me how cute he was, and you'd always let me know when he was being rotten or a little stinker turd. You were an amazing teacher with the biggest heart. Your laugh was so contagious, as was your smile. You were always so happy. It was a joy to be around you every day. No matter how bad of a day I might have been having, you could always make me laugh. I love that about you. You weren't shy about sharing your faith. Heck, you weren't shy about anything really. Looking back, there were so many conversations that started with "this is probably TMI, but," or ended with "oops, TMI," and then your laugh. Oh, how I miss that laugh. I remember you and I interviewing for school system jobs around the same time. You'd always ask me how mine went, and we'd talk about how much we wanted out of Learning Through Play. I'll never forget when you got the job at the high school. You were so happy, and I was so happy for you. After you left Learning Through Play, you'd message me occasionally and ask me about how it was going job hunting. You'd also check in on me through my mom frequently at the high school when you'd go to get lunch in the cafeteria. She'd tell me often that you were asking about me. You were such a caring person. You'd never met a stranger, and when you met someone, they couldn't help but be your friend. Thank you for always being a great friend. We didn't always keep in touch, but anytime we saw each other, we'd catch up just like no time had passed. I love that about you. You cared so deeply for everyone, and it was obvious. I loved hearing how much you wanted to be a mommy. I enjoyed getting to be part of your life during that time. I'll never forget the day you got the call about your babies. You were so excited, and I was so happy for you and Travis. I knew y'all were going to be amazing parents, and boy, was I right. I can always remember their adoption day because it was on my birthday. I loved reading your posts every year on my birthday about your journey and the official adoption day. It was a huge blessing to share my birthday with such an important event in your all's life. I eventually got a new job at Ash Day School, and Jackson was in my classroom, and oh, how I loved that boy. I then got to tell you how cute he was, and also when he was being rotten or a stinker. He was so much fun though, and I enjoyed seeing you every day when you'd pick them up after work. Jackson and I are so blessed to have you all as their parents. God had you and Travis in mind when those babies were born. I'm so grateful God allowed you to become a mother while you were on this earth. He knew those beautiful babies needed you, and I'm praying for Travis, Jackson, and Maya, and also the rest of your family daily, and will continue to do so. You may be gone from this earth, but I have hope that I'll see you in heaven one day, my sweet friend. Your legacy will live on through Jackson and Maya and through all the lives you touched in your short time here. Until we meet again, my sweet friend, I love you. This letter is from Laura Nedosic. Dear Crystal, being a part of the church family with you, we felt so blessed to have you dedicated to the youth ministry. Your heart was 100% dedicated to Jesus and the children. You didn't just go through the motions. You were a true teacher. When you bought your dream home, you and Travis and the kids were so excited, and the kids were so well behaved. I will never forget your smiling faces when you were handed those keys and you were ready to go make that house a home for your family. And you did. You spent a lot of time doing it, and I loved seeing all of your hard work and updates. You saw to every last detail. I was blessed to be part of that. You are kind and always smiling and a true woman of God. I feel blessed to have known you, and I feel blessed knowing you achieved so many of your dreams while you were all still here with us.
I have sat down a million times to say what was on my heart about sweet Crystal, but I think, like everyone else, there isn't enough words on this earth to describe how very special she was. Her heart and love for everyone was just so honest and real, especially her love for Jesus. Her laugh was one of my very favorite. Her heart and love she had for Travis, her precious children, her family, and friends was the way we all should aim to be. I'm so very thankful that I could be a part of her life for so many very special things. I'm just very grateful to have shared those memories with her. Thank you, Crystal, for touching my life. I will never forget you. You made this world such a better place, and I am a better person having known you. Please keep praying and remembering the DePalma family during this difficult time, and please pray our community. We lost such a precious soul, and so many are hurting right now. Until we meet again, I love you, Crystal.
We lost a wonderful, beautiful granddaughter, Crystal. We are so proud of her achievements, her beautiful family, husband, and children. She is gone, but will always be in our hearts and never be forgotten.